We're told right off the bat that Kylo Ren is not who he is projected to us to be. He wasn't always the baddie. I'm with the First Order. I'm gonna kill all the Resistance or whatnot. No, we find out. I'd say, what is it? Midway? Not even midway through the film.
No, slightly before midway.
Slightly before midway, and I don't know if that was a bad thing or a good thing for the people like me who don't have much of patience about them. But we find out that Kylo Ren is actually Ben, the son of Han Solo and Leia.
Yes, he's either Ben Solo or Ben Solo hyphen Organa, or even Ben Skywalker, maybe.
Because I mean, did they even really talk about the split between Han and Leia? It's just we knew they weren't together anymore.
Yeah. No, they sort of glided over that. It was I felt that whole split was handled very well because Han just went back to doing what he did best, and Leia did what she did best.
Exactly. I mean, they really didn't have to talk about it. It's like, oh yeah, well I know I loved you, and
It's
then we're not together anymore, but blah.
I mean, it just didn't work out. That's the thing.
Right. I mean, everybody's like, oh, they're perfect together. It's like, yeah, but you do understand that not all relationships do work out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad that they took that more realistic approach. And hey, not all matches made in heaven are heavenly.
Yeah.
So we have that to deal with right off the bat. That he is the son of Han Solo, and we find out really quickly that Rey becomes a Force user. She actually has some Jedi running through her.
Yeah, or midichlorians if you want to go by the prequels.
Blech, that didn't happen. I don't. Trying to quantify something like the Force is just no. That not for me. Thank
That's
you
what I
very
mean.
much.
You can't scientifically explain it. That's never been what Star Wars was about.
It's about the fantasy, not this. It's space fantasy, not science fiction, as you said.
Yes.
So it makes perfect sense. So we find out that Ben turns into Kylo Ren when he is training with Luke Skywalker in his Jedi training thing where he's trying to bring back a new breed of Jedi.
Yes.
And he pulls the old I am Anakin, which kind of, again, it returns me to the whole feeling that Kylo is kind of Anakin 2.0.
Yep.
Very, very angsty kid. I'm trying to find my place and whatnot. So he's, I'm going to be bad. I'm going to be just like my granddaddy, Darth Vader, and I'm going to mess your stuff up. And he did. He hardcore messed stuff up so bad that Luke felt he failed as a teacher and went into exile, which is the whole reason why everybody in the movie is looking for him.
Yes. Everyone of importance is asking where the hell is Luke.
Right off the bat, it tells you Luke Skywalker has vanished.
Yes.
And in his absence, the First Order has risen.
Yes.
It's like, oh, well, with no good force, Empire 2.0.
It's entirely the Force itself is in chaos again, despite being balanced at the end of Return of the Jedi by the death of Anakin Skywalker and the Emperor. The Force is just all out of whack again, and
It is.
it needs some rejigging, I think.
It does need some rejigging. You're very right. And Luke tries it, fails horribly.
Yeah.
So all that's left is for the baddies to get at it. Now I want to delve into a little bit about who the quote unquote new emperor, or the person, what do they call him, the supreme leader?
Supreme Leader Snoke.
Yeah, supreme leader. So the Snoke gentleman, gigantic holographic baddie that's telling everybody what to do.
Yes.
You think he's compensating for something? I mean, is he really that tall, or did he shot himself from a low angle with the light just right and pulling some Steven Spielberg magic and saying I'm gigantic?
I mean, even the Emperor in the original trilogy, he did the same thing. When Vader, I think, had a conversation or two with him in Empire, the Emperor's hologram was like 2 or 3 times the size of the room.
Right.
So
right.
it's not a new thing essentially. The only difference is the whole of his body is being projected by this hologram, as opposed to just the Emperor's head, as it were.
Right. So we've got him. He's, for some reason, wanting to have the entire galaxy under his control. I would imagine that's why he either founded or is in a huge leadership position of the First Order.
Yep.
But once total galactic domination and has these guys doing it, the division in the movie is led by General Hux, I believe the name is.
That's right, Hux.
Yes, who, by the way, has an awesome coat that I want from him as soon as he's done having it. So the moment he gets blasted into oblivion, which I'm sure is going to happen eventually, totally call dibs on it. It will be mine. But other than that, yeah. So we kind of briefly touched on this. The premise now is like the Death Star, but instead of making it the size of a small moon, let's make it the size of a freaking planet because size matters.
Yes, let's not do anything with the vast amounts of money that it would have taken to build that, and instead let's just build a giant space laser. Because it works so well.
And, well, one of the cool things, though, I have to say, to power that laser, you have to freaking drain an entire sun.
Hence the name Star Killer.
Right. I mean, it literally killed a star just so it could destroy a solar system.
Yes.
And it destroyed the solar system. It doesn't have to hover through space to get to where it needs to go. It can sit on its little corner of the galaxy and just shoot that son of a gun wherever it's going, and every planet within eyesight sees this gigantic red laser, and if it turns on you, you dead.
Well, you can't exactly, dodge the entire planet out of the way. That thing's, if it's coming for you, it's going to come for you, and it's going to destroy your planet. So tough.
Right.
Tough to be you.
It's going to mess your stuff up.
It'll make your Sunday not that great.
It will. Yeah, it's totally going to ruin your plans. But again, it goes into the whole there is one vulnerable weak point. In this case, it took, as I believe I called it, a walking carpet with a sack of potato bombs.
You may even call it a carpet bomb.
Oh, that's clever. I like that. Score 1 pun point for Lewis. All right. But, okay. We've been kind of dancing around it here. I've made mention to it that Chewbacca had the bombs that he was placing in the strategic point. While they were in there placing the bombs, something else very significant happened. We finally had to say goodbye to one of the beloved characters of the franchise, Han Solo.
Yes, he gets iced.
Not only does he get dead, but he got dead by his own son.
Yep, that's called patricide if you want to keep up with the whole Latin thing.
If you're keeping notes at home, kids, that's something you don't want to do.
No.
But I could. One, I accidentally found a spoiler on YouTube about it, so that kind of ruined my day there. But
I didn't know that. Did you really?
I did. Just browsing through YouTube one day, I found somebody else's vlog who that titled their video "Why Disney Killed Han Solo."
Oh, what a bunch of dicks! Why would they do that?
I know. I'm just like, I hope that's a metaphor, or else a big part of the movie just got ruined for me. But speaking of the spoilers and getting spoiled, what part of the movie got spoiled for you now that we're in this territory?
The exact same moment. I actually saw a screenshot of someone that took a very low-res picture of Han Solo getting stabbed with a lightsaber.
Oh, I gotcha.
So someone took the time out of their day to take a picture in the cinema in the first, I think, showing or first couple of showings, and then obviously it found its way onto the internet, and then once it's on the internet, it's going to find its way to me because I'm just that lucky, I suppose.
Right, you're all over that internets.
I think I did pull a Darth Vader no when I saw that.
Yeah, but I mean, it was the big shocker. Han Solo dies. Pretty sure it was the whole reason Harrison Ford agreed to be in that film so he could finally get killed.
Yes.
Because he'd been begging George Lucas to do it since the beginning.
Yes.
And George said no. Finally said, okay, fine, you can die. So, I mean, I personally believe that the character Han Solo had a good, long life.
Yep.
Nothing more could have really been gained from a character standpoint, so all was good. They had a nice, touching moment before it happened. You could see Ben was still in there, especially in the eyes. I loved how emotionally involved, again, I keep going back to that, how emotionally involved the actors were to the point where You could buy in. Yes, inside Kylo Ren somewhere, Ben was still there. He saw his father. He knew the only reason he could continue down his dark path is if his father was finally dead. So he even told him, I know what I have to do, but I don't think I'm strong enough to do it. Will you help me? And I kind of think that deep down, Han knew exactly what was going on. And he's like, fine, if it'll make things easier for you, then you do what you have to do.
Han did have a look of sort of resigned to his fate air about him in a way. In several scenes leading up to the moment when he started walking out onto the bridge to meet Ben, he had a look on his face that sort of knew exactly where things were going and what would happen to him if he approached his son. I think he just wanted to try and be a hero one last time, and damn the consequences.
Right.
Unfortunately, the consequences were he ended up with a lightsaber shoved in his chest.
Right, exactly. So he grabs the lightsaber, I guess presumably thinking, oh, I'll take it from you so you can't be dangerous anymore. And he just flips the sucker on, impales him, and Geronimo! Down the shaft he goes.
Yes.
Which also leads to another point that we were talking about a while back. In almost every other instance of Star Wars, you see the good Jedi starting out on the light side of the Force, being quote-unquote seduced by the dark side, and eventually resigning to their fate of evil.
Yes.
With Kylo Ren, we know where he was good, but when we see most of him in the film, he knows he's on the dark side. He knows the light will try to bring him back, but he does not want it.
Yes,
And he is doing everything he can to keep away from it.
Yeah. I almost said Emperor, but lead us. This is what I'm about to say. All of it is mostly information that I found on the internet and through various interviews. So unless you did your research about this thing, you're not really going to know, but you're not supposed to know these sort of things anyway. But the main reason that Snoke has Kylo sort of in a position of being his apprentice is the fact that Kylo Ren is almost a perfect balance of good light side and dark side. Almost to the same point that his grandfather was, Anakin Skywalker, which is why Snoke wants to have control over this, this supremely powerful guy, because the person that can wield both the light and the dark side of the Force, that's never been explored at all in the films, books, video games, TV shows, whatever. So that makes Kylo very, very important.
Right, because you could tell he's trying. He's walking that fine line.
Yes.
He's like, I want to be on this side, but this side's constantly calling me, pulling me to it, to the point where it's clouding my judgment, and I can't get through. I can't get as powerful as I want to be if I'm over on that side.
Yeah.
I think what he doesn't realize is if he harnesses both, he'll be far more powerful than anybody can imagine.
Yeah, and it does. The film does do one unique thing with the whole Force concept very well, and that show that the light side is just as seductive as the dark side when you're in the opposite camp.
Right, exactly. It's not just like, ooh, you better watch out because it'll come get you. Yeah, that can be, like you said, it can apply to the light side as well. If
Yes.
you are on the dark side and you don't want a thing to do with the light, it can be evil to you. It
Yeah.
can seduce you over to its side.
It's all a matter of perspective.
It really is, and we get to see that so well in this film, and again, it hasn't really been explored. We don't really get to see that until like Darth Vader finally renounces his dark ways and turns good at the very end of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
But now we get to see somebody who's had a taste of the wine from this side of the fence, and they don't want to go back.
No.
And even though they're trying, their mind's telling them you need to go over there, all these influences are telling them you need to go over there. It's like, nope, leave me alone. I'm going to go look at this burnt helmet here. You're going to help me. I'm going to be evil. It's going to be great.
Ben is essentially running away from his destiny. I think that is the crux of his character, I think. He knows, I think he's had a burden of being quote unquote special since he was born. I don't think he wants much, if anything, to do with any of that sort of nonsense. Because I think, well, obviously, one of the main qualities about him is that he is, in essence, worshipping Darth Vader
Yes.
and wants to be like him in many ways. In essence, that he dresses like him, talks like him, acts like him. But underneath all of that armor is a very young, very bratty kid that is,
Yes.
in essence, is just acting out, I guess, for attention.
And his temper tantrum in the middle of the film spells that out wonderfully.
Yeah, you got that. I think everyone in my cinema understood at that moment what.
Yes, he's still a child.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I'm not getting my way. Okay, I'm gonna tear some stuff up.
Yes.
Because temper tantrum. I'm sitting here thinking, as soon as that's happening, my mind is going, Christian, at last, so on and so forth. That's the wrestling fan in me coming out there when he used to do the temper tantrums when he would lose.
Yes.
But I mean, the character Kylo Ren, while not the prettiest of faces, it was a great character, I thought, to add right on there with the rest of the characters, especially on the protagonist side of Rey, Finn, Poe, all them.
Mm-hmm.
The bad guys were just as well developed.
Yep.
Phasma, Kylo Ren, all them, and it was just.
I would say, to counter that Phasma was dramatically underdeveloped, but I'm hoping that again that they save some of that for the next film.
I mean, I want to see more of her so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, because you don't really get to see the fact that, oh, you know what, in those trooper outfits and all that armor, there can be a woman too.
Yep. I think
usually you just hear the guys and whatnot, but as soon as Phasma spoke, and it's just like, oh, there's a woman.
I think there was a number of different female stormtroopers as well in the film.
Oh yeah, no doubt, and that's another good thing. I know we keep this list of review, ladies and gentlemen, is more of it as a rambling of two fans, but hopefully you're enjoying our little discussion here. I like the fact that they kind of gave the stormtroopers more individuality.
Yes.
It wasn't just hive mind, everybody drink the Kool-Aid and go. That was kind of conveyed a couple times, especially during one of Hux's speeches. But when you get down to brass tacks, especially with Finn revolting, some of the other ones seeing him and just bloodthirstily crying out, "You traitor!"
Yes.
And like one of the stormtroopers even taking it upon himself to whip out his awesome billy club like weapon and just go at Finn because he knew exactly what he was up to.
Yeah.
I mean, it just really gave them more of that's a real person in there, and they have their own morals, their own beliefs, and they will react accordingly.
Well, that's the entire that's Finn's entire story arc, I think, is the fact that he was a stormtrooper, but he has emotions and things that can't be suppressed by any amount of first order brainwashing or indoctrination or whatever.
Right.
To the point that it causes him physical pain.
Exactly.
And that he has to get away and do something about it, do the right thing, in his words.
Yeah, and then conversely, you have the people who buy into the First Order so much that they're willing to let that shape their own beliefs and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, any other time you just be like, oh, there is a group of stormtroopers. Oh, there is a traitor. Let's shoot at him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but in this case, like I said, one person is willing to break off from the group and just like, I'm going to beat the crap out of you myself because, I believe this is the way to go, and you don't, and you're no better than the rest of the resistance scum out there and whatnot. And it's just, it was I really liked the fact that they kind of made him more of an individual, not just from the voice standpoints, like having people like, James Bond in there and whatnot. But, yeah, just the whole idea that they're not just one mass of brainwashed troops. They're individuals in those helmets. And the first time just seeing Finn take his helmet off, it's like, oh, can they do that? Are they allowed to do that? No stormtrooper's ever done that before. And then that's when you realize, oh, yeah, he's not like the rest of them. And even Phasma herself is just like, who told you to take that helmet off?
Yes, and that's when she decides to have his weapon checked to see if it had been fired at all in the opening scenes of the film.
I do hope, and this is just me being me, I do hope she eventually pulls her helmet off and we get to see the the awesome chick underneath all that.
Do you know what she looks like in real life? The actress that plays her.
I don't honestly.
I'll have to show you after this review is over because it is quite remarkable.
Nice.
She's just a really tall lady.
Well, hey, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. And in fact, it's just it's nice to see that the whole film itself is being very progressive like that. I mean, you could kind of see back in the 1970s when the first New Hope came out that all the stereotypes of society kind of existed there.
Yeah.
Well, a lot has happened since then, and things have changed in what is acceptable in society, and you can kind of see that now in this film. It's like, oh yeah, well, not all troops are male, and not all this is happening, and not all that is happening.
Yeah.
Is that, well, this kind of stuff can happen because that's the society we live in.
Yeah.
And apparently in a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago, they realized this before we did. So that they went and did all that. Yeah, so I guess
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that really wraps it up.
Yeah, to wrap it up, I'd say late second act of the movie, Rey finds the old lightsaber in the trunk in the bottom of, who was it, Maz's?
Yeah, Maz.
I loved her, by the way.
Yeah.
Wasn't she awesome?
Yeah, she's pretty good.
My gosh, I hope to see more of her. She's hilarious. I dig her. Finds it, is charged, okay, must deliver this back to Luke, and we get to the end. We get a beautiful panoramic shot of the scenery around oh my gosh, the visuals of this movie were just amazing. I mean, from the look of the silhouettes of the TIE fighters coming in with the desert sun in the background to just the vast scenery that they used. I mean, just amazing. But we get to there. We see the old man in the cloak turn around. Oh my gosh, it's Luke Skywalker himself. They have another touching, gazing moment where nothing has to be said. Rey hands off the lightsaber. We still don't know to this day if he actually took it or not. She could still be standing on that mountaintop asking him if he wants his dadgum lightsaber back. But
we're going to have to wait a couple of years to find out his response.
We are. I can just see it. We open it up. The standoff is still real.
Yeah.
Rey is still standing on that mountaintop. She just finally yells, "Are you going to take it or what?" I've traveled halfway across the freaking galaxy to give this thing to you. I can imagine Robot Chicken doing something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But she goes to hand him that, boom, roll credits, that's the end. Nothing at the end of the credits, which as a movie-going guy nowadays, that's almost unheard of because there's always something after the credits. But there never was in Star Wars. There didn't have to be this time because it's not necessary. Just wait till next time, folks. You know you want to. It set it up nicely. All in all, I greatly enjoyed this film.
Yep, fantastic viewing experience.
It was great. Some people say it wasn't the best. Some people say it was better than all of the rest. That rhymes. I made a song about it someday. I thought it was fantastic. It fit right up there with the original three of the trilogy: New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great direction for it. I'm sorry that George Lucas is disappointed in the direction it's taken. I understand some fans are disappointed that it didn't follow the canon of the books very well.
Well, I mean, there was so much expanded universe stuff that it was smart of them to just sort of say, well, that's its own sort of separate canon. We're going to be doing a new canon. So a lot of it is freed up because they would have had so much baggage to bring with them if they accepted, all of the new stuff that had come out after Return of the Jedi, because there's so much of it.
There is just so much content.
Yes.
I mean, there are books, there are comic serials, there are video games, there's everything that explores this universe. And if you try to just pick a direction and go with it, you're gonna disappoint somebody.
Yes, absolutely.
But from my personal standpoint, if you have not seen this film yet, go see it. If you're a fan at all of science fantasy or even science fiction, or just the whole fact that it's space fantasy or whatnot, go see it. Because even if you haven't seen the rest, you can pick up what's going on. They do drop a bunch of hints to the previous ones. There are certain things that happen again, certain lines are recycled, but it's there for the fans who have seen it. Like, oh, by the way, if you're paying attention, this happened. But if not, it's still a great movie. It's a great experience, full of everything, twists and turns, suspense, comedy, action. It's all there. It's a great overall film. Definitely go and check it out if you have not seen it. And if you're waiting to Redbox it, you don't know what you're missing, because a cinema experience of this magnitude is not a trap, trust me.
It doesn't come around very often.
It does not. I mean, you can go to the popcorn flicks that happen in the summertime and expect all the random explosions to happen. That's great and all, but Star Wars, The Force Awakens is the whole package.
Yep.
It really is. It fits it all together so well.
I will be seeing it again, almost guaranteed.
This would definitely be one that I would not be hesitant at all to say I will go see it again. If somebody else says, hey, we're going to go see Star Wars, would you want to go? I would say yes, definitely. I would love to go back. Just so I could go back and see what I missed the first time.
Yeah.
Because there's so much stuff that happens, you're not sure if you saw certain things, and you might want to go back and revisit it and check it out again, for sure.
Yep.
But, well, is there anything else you would like to say about the film, sir?
No, I think I've ranted about it enough, I think.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my guest today has been Lewis from Mokojin Gaming. Again, I will leave a link in the description so you can go check out his channel. There is lots of gaming content, some wrestling stuff. There's even a podcast where we talked about a particular Raw episode of that certain time. So there's all kinds of content for you to check out. You got to hear his lovely voice for a good long while now here, so definitely, if you're interested in hearing more of that, go check him out. Be looking for more content from me here in a while. So do you have a particular sign-off that you give your viewers, sir?
No, I'll just catch you later.
There we go. He will catch you later. And ladies and gentlemen, until next time, talk to you soon, and take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.